Vision Forward's In Focus team presents.
Hi, this is Luke Scriven here at Vision Forward, and welcome to another In Focus deep dive video.
A deep dive into the Orcam MyEye 2.0.
In this deep dive video, we're going to be looking at the Orcam MyEye 2.0, and more specifically, some of the more advanced reading features. So, let's get started. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you do before you start reading with the Orcam MyEye 2.0 is have the camera positioned in the correct place on the glasses. Now if you're using the glasses that came with the Orcam, no problem, you'll be good to go. But if you've put a mount onto your own glasses, you do want to make sure that the camera is in the correct position. It should be on either the right or the left side, with the camera right at the front so that the glasses frame is not interrupting its field of view. If the camera is too far back, then the camera will see the glasses frame and that will obstruct its view of whatever you're trying to read. So definitely make sure that you have it positioned correctly before you get started. Once we have the camera positioned correctly, we're ready to read, and there's actually 4 ways to read with the Orcam. Way number 1 I'm going to talk about but not demonstrate. It's automatic page recognition, and this can be turned on in the menu. What this does is exactly what it sounds like. It will automatically start to read to you if it recognizes text on a page. And so if I had it turned on and I had the glasses on, I could just go ahead and look at a page, and after a few seconds it would start to read the page to me. This sounds good in principle, but it does rob you of your ability to say when you want something to be read or exactly what you want to be read. And so I would only recommend this method for people who struggle with the other methods which I'm going to be demonstrating. Okay, so on to the next method of reading, and this method is quite popular. It's a method whereby we tap on the side of the camera once to take a picture of text and start to read it, and a second time to stop the reading. This is really good just for an easy way to read a page from top to bottom, and when we take a picture it will capture everything in its field of view and start to read it to us. So let's say I wanted to read this 8.5 by 11 top to bottom. I can go ahead and hold this out in front of me, and I'm going to look toward it. I'm going to tap on the side of the camera, and it's taken a picture. Now it should start to read.
Assistive Technology Fair for the Visually Impaired, sponsored by Berlin Lions Club, Tuesday, October.
And then I tapped a second time and it stopped the reading. Nice and easy. When we're holding text in front of us, we want to be careful of exactly where we hold it. An 8.5 by 11 with standard size print, we can generally hold that around 3/4 arm's length. That will allow the camera to capture the entire page. If the text is very small, we might have to hold it closer. So do bear in mind that the distance that you hold things will make a difference. Do also bear in mind that the closer that we hold things, the smaller field of view the camera will have, the less it will be able to see. And so if I held this 8.5 by 11 up nice and close, it probably wouldn't be able to see the entire page. It wouldn't be able to read from top to bottom. So tapping on the side of the camera is a good way to read if we want to read something from top to bottom, but it does have its flaws as well. One of those is the fact that it will read everything that it sees when it takes a picture, and we might not always want that to happen. For example, here I have a newspaper. I'm going to place the newspaper in front of me on the table. I also have a document that I want to read. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of this document, but deliberately I'm not going to look at the right place on the document. I'm going to look so that I'm kind of looking above it. And what's going to happen is the Orcam will take a picture, it will see the document, but it will also see the newspaper on the table, and it will start to read the newspaper to me when I don't want it to.
Bring the energy tomorrow, when I Friday to Sun, Sports, Backside Sharpshooter Corner.
And so that time, that happened exactly as I thought it would. It started to read from the newspaper, even though I had another document held in front of me. Because it caught everything that it could and read it all to me, it also started to read the newspaper there. So in order to get around this, if we are going to tap on the side of the camera, we need to make sure that we're looking at the document that we want to read and we're looking at the right place. And a common mistake which people make is looking too high over a document, and so they don't capture the entire page, or the camera will start to read other things that it has seen. In order to make sure that we are going to capture the page of the thing that we want to read, there is a good way to do it. So let's say we have our 8.5 by 11 again. So we're going to go ahead and look toward it. We're going to be looking straight ahead, and we want to look toward the middle of the page, but not by moving our eyes. We want to tuck our chin in while still looking straight ahead. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to look straight ahead. I'm going to tuck my chin in. And now I'm looking at about the center of this page. Now I'm going to tap. Good, and it should have seen the whole page and start to read from the top.
Technology Fair for the Visually Impaired, sponsored by Berlin Lions Club, Tuesday.
And that's exactly what happened. All right, on to the third method of reading then, and the third method is using gestures, and this is a very cool part of Orcam. We can use gestures, such as pointing, to tell the camera exactly where we want to read. And this can be useful in a number of different situations. One of those can be, say that we do have multiple documents on the table and we want to read a specific one. We can point to the specific document to tell the camera, hey, I want to read this document. Or if we have something formatted like a newspaper where there are stories all over the page, we can use the pointing to say to the Orcam, hey, I want to read this particular story. And that's what I'm going to do now. So the way that this works is I look toward the thing that I want to read, I point. When the camera sees my finger, it will make a beep sound to let me know it's seen my finger. At that point, I move my hand out the way, the camera will take a picture, and then it will start to read the text to me. Okay, let's give it a try. On the bottom here is a story that I would like to read. I'm going to go ahead and hold it here, point at it. There's the beep, listen for the picture. There we go.
Lowry, and none of that accounts for the likelihood free agent newcomers saw Darius Smith.
And that worked great, and that time to stop it, I used another gesture, and that was holding my hand out with the fingers spread in a stop gesture, and that stopped the reading. So pointing is an extremely powerful way of reading text with the Orcam. There are, again though, some things which people often do which make it not work as well as it should. One of those things is not listening for the beep to let you know that the camera has seen your finger. If you don't hear the beep, that means that the camera has not seen your finger and it won't take a picture and start to read. And again, oftentimes people look too high so the camera can't see their finger. Let me demonstrate. I'll hold the newspaper in front of me. This time I'm going to point. I'm pointing at the page, but I'm looking too high. The camera cannot see my finger. So if you don't hear a beep, it's likely you may be looking too high. Simple way to correct that, try looking a bit lower. So leave your finger on the page there and slowly start to tuck your chin in. Okay, I heard the beep there. Now it's taken the picture and now it will start to read.
Lowry, and none of that accounts for the likelihood free agent newcomers saw Darius Smith.
Another trap which people often can fall into is looking away from the text that they want to read before the camera has taken a picture, and then it won't be able to read it to them. So let me just demonstrate that quickly. I'm going to point to the page, I'm going to hear the beep, but before the camera has taken the picture, I'm going to look away and we'll see what happens. So point to the page, there's the beep, look away. And it's made a ding to let me know it can't see any text, because before it took the picture, I looked away and there was no text there. So you do need to make sure you hear the beep, you move your hand out of the way, but you keep looking at the text until you've heard the shutter noise, the camera noise, and that lets you know that it's taken the picture, and at that point you can look away if you want to. One final thing that I want to discuss with regards to the pointing method is that oftentimes people will kind of jab at the page when they're trying to get it to take a picture. That's quite common. Or they might move their finger across the lines of what they're trying to read. And both of those methods are incorrect. All you have to do is hold the page in front of you and just bring your finger in and just leave it there extended. And then the camera will see it and start to read to you. Whatever you point to, the camera will start to read from the top of that, and it will read to the bottom of it. Now let's discuss the final method of reading that Orcam offers, and that is called touch reading, and it's an even more specific way of reading that can tell the camera exactly where you want it to read. It's very similar to the touch reading. We again point toward what we want to read, but this time when we hear the beep, we do not move our finger out of the way. We leave our finger on the page, and the camera will start to read from just a few lines above our finger. This could be useful, for example, if we had a page of text and we wanted to start reading from halfway down that page. Same with the newspaper here. If I want to start from reading halfway down this column, I'm going to hold it in front of me. I'm going to point. When I hear the beep, I'm going to leave my finger there. Okay, and now it started to read to me.
Kenny Clark might be the Packers' best defensive player.
And it will continue to read until it gets to the bottom of whatever text you have pointed to. And so in this way you can be even more specific. You could even use this if you receive a bill and you have an idea of where the amount that you have to pay is. You could point to that area, leave your finger there, and the camera will start to read from what is just above your finger. So the final thing that I want to talk about in this video with regards to reading with the Orcam MyEye 2.0 is the transport controls, and that means things like play, pause, forward wind, and rewind. And those are done by using the touch bar on the side of the camera. We can do two gestures with the touch bar. We can do a swipe, and that would either be from back to front or front to back. And we can also do a tap, very similar to gestures that you might make on your smartphone. So let's take a look at the swipe first of all. We're going to swipe from back to front, and while the camera is not reading to us, that will adjust the volume. So let's see, we'll swipe from back to front.
Volume max.
Okay, it told me the volume was max. Let's swipe the other way from front to back.
Volume down. Volume down.
And that's making the volume go down. I'm going to swipe from back to front again.
Volume up. Volume up.
Okay, and that's taking the volume back up again. So very easy to change the volume. Oftentimes when people are trying to use the touch bar, especially in the first few days, they don't really have a feel for where it is, and they might end up tapping too high, and it won't do anything, or too far to the front, or too far to the back, and it won't do anything. You will know if you've made contact with the touch bar because you will hear a click as you make contact with it. Let me see if we can demonstrate that there.
Volume max.
There we go. So just before it said volume max, we heard a click that let us know that we've made contact with the touch bar. If you do not hear that click, that means that you haven't made contact with the touch bar, so just try again. So we've looked at changing the volume with a swipe. The swipe can also be used to forward wind and rewind while the device is reading to us. And so when it's not reading to us, the swipes will change the volume. While it is reading to us, the swipes will forward wind or rewind. Let's try that out now. So I'm going to take a picture again of this. It's going to start to read it to me. Let's swipe backward to rewind now.
6 in a series of 9 positions. 6 in a
And let's
series of
swipe
9
forward to forward wind.
Green Bay. If later, start with the line. After his emergence last season.
Okay, great. So there we were able to forward wind and rewind as much as we needed to. Now let's take a look at the ability to pause. As I had said earlier, with a touch bar, you can either swipe or you can tap. The pause is going to be a tap function, and it's actually going to be a double tap. So we quickly tap 1, 2. We'd already seen earlier on in the video that we can take a picture of something by tapping once and stop the reading by tapping once. With the double tap, we can tap twice while it's reading to us to pause and twice again to resume. Let's give that a try.
6 in a series of 9.
Now it's reading. I'm going to double tap to pause. Okay, good. Now it's beeping, and that lets me know that it is currently paused. So let's say I was reading, somebody had come to the door. I need to go answer the door, so I can pause, go to the door, deal with that. Now I'm ready to resume the reading. I'm going to double tap again.
2019 training.
And there we go.
Green Bay. If you're looking for one.
So I hope that you enjoyed this deep dive into the Orcam MyEye 2.0. And if you want more information about the Orcam or any other assistive technology products, then please get in touch. You can call us at 414-615-0103. You can email us infocus@vision-forward.org or visit our website vision-forward.org. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned to the channel. We will have more deep dive videos as well as more tech demo videos. And in the meantime, I hope you're doing great.